So I want to answer a question that just came in on Instagram, and it was, do I need to gesso before starting a painting? And then how does it work with gessoing or layering? When do I know it's time to start painting? And do I need to sand in between gesso layers? So great question. And let me just tell you how I approached it, because it's changed through the years of when I was a beginner artist to now. I think, as we go on in time, we figure out what's more proficient for us, what could be made a little better and tweaked. So here's my take on it now. This painting behind me, or any painting for that matter, I used to gesso because that's what I was taught, and then maybe do some paint on top of it. But I always thought I needed this really thick layer of gesso. There's no need to sand anything unless you really want that super smooth texture and the unlevelness kind of bothers you. But my take on that is I don't even gesso anymore. It's not necessary. What I do instead is I always have lots of extra paint that is mixed up throughout the day that I'm painting, and I don't always use it all at the end of the day. So what I do then in that case is I always have some blank canvases that are in need of paint before I even, start it. So I will take all that paint and I'll just spread it on my canvas. That way I don't waste the paint. And secondly, instead of using a lot of gesso and then painting on top of it, I just use those layers of paint as my base layer, because all I really want to do is get enough paint in the canvas, because it seeps in. Those initial layers will seep in. And the reason for the gesso or those layers of initial paint, and the reason I do it thick, is to let that seep in so that it starts that good strong foundation for me. And then when I start piling paint on top of it, it's not seeping in and then fading and looking washed away or uneven. It's got a really firm foundation on it, and then I just go from there. So if you're looking to save a step, or maybe find yourself purchasing a little too much gesso to get that down there, try that. Just use whatever leftover paint you have for the day, spread it on a blank canvas or a few that you have going. I always have a few laying around. That way, when the time comes that you want to paint on those canvases, you can just get into it. And it really doesn't matter if the paint is dark or light. Just go for it, get it on there, and I think you'll be really pleased that you're not wasting or throwing that paint away, and you're setting the same foundation.